Well, since it began more than a decade ago, Uber has raised an astonishing $25 billion from investors. Yet it's only in the last quarter that it's become cash flow positive for the very first time. Well, today, the global chief executive of Uber, Dara Khosrowshahi, was in Australia. I caught up with him and asked whether Uber, the great transport disruptor, is now the company with a target on its back.
Going to do our best to make sure that Uber continues to be a disruptor. I think as a company, we're only 12 years old. We've been here in Australia for 10 years, but Uber's a very, very young company, and the opportunities that we have ahead of us to power transportation of all types. Anywhere you want to go from point A to B, whether you want to go by car or taxi or bike or take a bus, we want to power that. And then anything that you want to get delivered to your home. We started with food, but now we're going to grocery and pharmacy and pet food, etc. Anything you want to get delivered to your food same day, we're powering. And I think we're very, very early in the development of where we're going as a company.
You've said the big growth is delivering groceries. Why is that?
Well, the grocery market is a $1 trillion market overall. The mobility market's a $1 trillion market. Food is $1 trillion, and groceries another $1 trillion that we're targeting. A single-digit percentage of groceries right now are purchased online and delivered. And I don't know if you've used it, but it's delightful. It's so easy to get your grocery list together. We can store that grocery list to you. Your wife or your partner can add to that grocery list, and then it just gets delivered effortlessly to your home. So we think it's a great experience, and it can represent an expansion for our grocery partners as well. So it really is a win-win-win.
So I know people in Australia who actually use Uber to actually move apartments and move houses. They literally get the biggest Uber they possibly can, stack all their furniture in there and try and move house. This seems like a crazy thing, but it disrupts furniture removalists. This is the type of thing you can do.
We have had many, many creative use cases as it relates to Uber. People use it in so many ways, and we really want to be an everyday part of everyone's life. It's called like your daily operating system of city living. You want to go anywhere, you want to get anything, we want to be there for you.
But the International Monetary Fund says the world could be going into recession. Now, this clearly slows down discretionary spending. Does this slow down Uber as a result?
Well, it's something that we're certainly looking at. Now, what we're fortunate in terms of the trends that we're seeing is that during lockdown, retail, buying anything for your home, etc., really boomed, and spending on services suffered. Even though we're going into potentially a recessionary environment, we're seeing spending of all kinds of services, whether it's delivery services or now that restaurants are opening up, going out, seeing friends, etc., are really growing. So the growth that we're seeing is incredibly healthy, and at least the future that we see going forward is pretty bright.
Okay, but then if costs are going up, interest rates are going up, people need more income. Does that mean that there's worker shortages in lots of places, but you find more workers as a result of a recession?
To some extent, we are seeing signal of that now, in that about 70% of our driver partners or delivery partners are saying that they're coming onto the platform, and many of them, the majority of them, are part-time. Inflation is a factor in their coming onto the platform. Driver partners right now, earnings are very, very healthy. In Australia, for example, earnings for drivers on Uber are $38 an hour, which is quite healthy. And we're seeing more drivers come onto the platform because they want to put in that 10 hours or 15%, 15 hours of work to make extra money to be able to afford what seems to be everything getting more costly right now with inflation.
And does the fact that more labour comes onto your platform means that things which are sticking points with some of your customers, such as surge pricing, that is alleviated by the fact that there are simply more drivers out there?
Well, the more drivers are out there, the lower our estimated time of arrivals, the faster delivery times we get for Uber Eats, surge pricing generally comes down, and the more popular the service becomes. So while I wouldn't say that we're not vulnerable to a recession, I do think as a company we're recession resistant. We're not asset heavy, and in difficult economic environments, we're a platform where people can earn money. and they come to our platform to earn money. We have over 150,000 driver partners now in Australia, New Zealand on our platform earning and earning well. And so we think it's a win-win. In a recession, you have more people earning and service levels improve.
You gave a hint a little earlier about changes in the way in which Uber, the transport service, might change into the future. But you've talked about even UberX, where you might have a prestige type service, where you might have somebody wait for you for 10 or 15 minutes, where you have a better vehicle. You might have an electric vehicle, for example. You've launched 500 of them here in Australia. Is this the way in which you can differentiate the various markets to have Uber taking more market share?
We're trying to get Uber to be more personal, and sometimes that means the right Uber for you. We're seeing a certain percentage of our users want to reserve an Uber. I do it myself when I'm going out to dinner. I don't need to hurry, my wife to get out immediately because the driver is paid to wait 10, 15 minutes as we go to dinner. So that convenience is something that I'm willing to pay for. One announcement that we're really excited about here in New South Wales and Sydney is our getting 500 electric Polestar 2s onto the platform through partnership with Splen. To get these electric vehicles into the city. It helps the environment. It is a precursor to our introducing our Comfort Electric product. It's a premium product, but if you want to reduce your carbon footprint and you want a great ride, you can come to Uber Comfort Electric, and you can get to where you're going in style, but also helping the environment.
You've also recently done some deals with autonomous vehicle companies. Just tell me what you think the timing is before the Uber turns up without a driver.
Wow, I think it's so difficult to, at this point, predict these things. For us, autonomous is an important technology to provide safe transportation. And it's not just for rideshare. We have partnerships on delivery of food and grocery. We have partnerships with trucking as well. So autonomous is really going to come to power many, many industries. We think car hailing will be one of them. I don't think it'll be a significant factor in the next 5 years, but really in the next 10 to 20 years, we think autonomous could become a big factor.
That's
in our
the holy
service.
grail, isn't it? Car hailing is the holy grail. It's the one thing that you can do with a taxi that you can't do with an Uber right now.
Well, it certainly is something that we're looking at, but ultimately, we want every single vehicle and driver who is looking to drive people or things to be on Uber. You talked about taxi. We actually have taxi now available in New York City. We're introducing taxi in Paris, in Tokyo, in Japan, in many, many markets out there. So whether it's an Uber driver, a taxi driver, or a robot driver, we want to get them onto our platform.
And the interesting thing is being cash flow positive now. That gives you the power to invest. You don't have to keep going back to investors, cap in hand, looking for more capital. You can now start to generate your own.
Absolutely. We think that's a really important factor for any company, whether a technology company or growth company, to be self-funding. It's taken us 12 years to get to that point, but our business is growing top lines at very healthy rate, 30+%. And we've turned profitable as well from a cash flow perspective, which means that we can reinvest in the business and grow at healthy rates for the next 10 years.
Dara Khosrowshahi, many thanks for your time today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.